both sides playing. And now we have YouTube is finally out. So today I'm talking about what can happen during an exorcism, okay? And I'll show you the video that really, it was the one that got me to do this today. I've talked about exorcism before because I myself had one back in 1999. It was the summer of 99. And I'll get into what caused it, what brought it on, okay? Because I even had a psychiatrist at the hospital when I started reciting the Lord's Prayer. Before I did it, I told her that before we got started, I was going to do something, and I wanted her to give me her medical explanation for it, what she would class it as medical. So I recited the Lord's Prayer, and as I was reciting it, like I'll play this first, and then I will explain what can happen. Okay, so this guy I like seeing his videos and stuff because he's into crystals and what have you. Now, this here, he's explaining about exorcisms, which, okay. So, here. My thing got moved somehow. Probably by me some way, somehow, but, it is what it is. Exorcism experiences explained. Yes. There's different forms. You can look at an exorcism in many different ways. Okay. There's the one that you perceive to be demonic. There's an exorcism of your addictions and an exorcism of your traumas. Okay. And I had all three. Let's start this.
The idea and interpretation the church has as far as demonic possession is something that has been widely abused by the church for many years to use fear and their doctrine as a scare tactic to bring in more followers. They do this by doing what I call spiritual stage performance. Check this out. Oh, wait a minute. It gets a little bit more wild.
Look, oral sex, demon. You see oral sex?
I don't even know what to say that one. I mean, they obviously have their ways of expelling these demons out of them. Oh, no, they did not. Hold on, I want to see that again. Wow, never seen that technique before. I'm going to stop you from stage and do that. Just wet towel, full force, right into their face. That is brilliant. After seeing this, the question is begged to be asked that if this path is so righteous and so clean, why is it that Christians are the only ones that get fucked with demonically? The lesson here is that the church will utilize every scare tactic that they can conjure up to bring in more followers. The number one go-to is the fear of hell. We already know that, but if the fear of hell is not enough, they're going to create what they will call evidence. I've had close friends.
Okay, we'll say when they say about Christians, because I just kind of caught that a Christian will say, well, they come after us because we are God's chosen ones. We're God's children. It's like, seriously? Everyone is God's children. Some just think they're better than others, but they're actually not.
Prayed over me, and I didn't convulse, I didn't go into seizures, and I didn't burst into flames either. I allowed it as a sign of respect, but by that notion and that small testimony that I just shared goes to show that everything that you just saw in these videos that I presented bullshit. To be quite honest, malevolent possessions like this is extremely rare. But If they are encountered, they are dealt with by professionals, not by some random idiot that you find within a congregation. Which brings me to another critical point. Christians will talk like they know more about the occult, know more about demons, and know more about witchcraft than we actually do. Majority of their knowledge did not actually come from occult practices. It actually came from movies or gossip that they were told by other members within their congregation. Now understand, by me making this video, this doesn't mean that stuff like this can't happen. The point of this video is keep an eye on the bullshit, keep an eye on the lies, keep an eye on what's true and what is not. Who has to be?
Okay. So now we're going to get into this. Okay. Because in the summer of 1999, I had an exorcism. Okay. What led up to the exorcism? Okay. In 1994, 1995, okay, I was living somewhere and I was dating this guy, and they said he committed suicide, but I didn't believe that he committed suicide. Few people didn't believe he committed suicide. Okay, so I never stopped at that time. I never stopped caring about him. Okay, and then in January of '99, I was at someone's place, and they were using a Ouija board, and I was downstairs with them, and I had used I had eaten some mushrooms. That was my first time, and I've only ever done it twice in my life. And at that time, it only made my head feel like it was floating there, but they were using this. Okay, I wasn't touching it, and a lot of people say, well, it has to do with you touching it or what have you, the spirit board. Okay, well, I wasn't touching it, and the people that were had no idea or any clue as to this person or any forethought of it. Okay, so I got them to ask, like, how this person died. And what I thought down the, and it come up murder. And that was exactly what I thought. And it come up, why was he killed? Well, he was killed for mushrooms, over magic mushrooms, because see, he was involved with a shady crowd. I kind of later realized that, okay, because those same people, they roofied me. Except at that time, I did not know these people. So in '98, that's when it come up. And I asked the name. And they told me the name. It told me the name. And they had no idea who this person was. So it couldn't have told them. And am I going to relay the name? No, I'm not going to relay the name because that person is passed on. He had his karma. Okay. And no, it was his own dealings. Now, I wasn't done talking with him. I wanted to do this myself. So I, like a few months later in May, was in the beginning, right around May, I asked to borrow the Ouija board, the spirit board. So I took the spirit board. This ain't for everybody. This channel ain't for everybody. And some people believe it, some people don't. Unless you're there, you have not a fucking clue. And you can say it's a psychosis or what have you, but you ain't got no fucking clue. Seriously. You don't fucking know what psychosis is. You say it's a psychotic episode, but I'm here to tell you, it has to do with spirit. It's not a medical thing. It's a spiritual thing. The dogma makes it a medical thing because it's profitable. And exorcisms are not so much profitable because it's something that you should be doing because it's the right thing to do. And I can feel that within me right now. You want to laugh and think it's funny? Okay. Go right ahead. Now, I used the Ouija board. I was using the spirit board myself. I just heard, what? You can't do that. Well, no, people say you're not supposed to be able to. I asked permission. It's the same as when people use your dowsing rods. I tried using the dowsing rods, but where I'm so connected to spirit, I was experiencing the whole of the energy. And spirit said, no, you don't need that. Now, when I used it in 99, I started getting more hooked in. Okay. My youngest son was, Mommy, you shouldn't be playing that game. Okay. So he was telling me, okay, because kids are very in tune with stuff. And I can feel somebody wanting to shut me up. Are you the church? So I kept using it. And then this one night, I asked how I could bring it in. Like how I could bring him. Like how I could see him. And it spelled out, look out the window. So I looked out the window, and then down in the bottom of the corner of the window, there was this, it looked like, it's almost like the hottest flame. It was like the blue and white flame. Okay. And it was like really gangly. It was fucking creepy looking, to be honest. So I asked, like, how do I bring you in? And it said, kiss the picture. It was the picture I had with myself and him. And I was told to kiss the picture. And when I kissed the picture, I felt something go in my mouth. It was like a spirit. And then things started happening. Okay. It was like I started channeling my great-grandparents. I started channeling Elvis Presley. And I mean, I was singing and dancing in the shower with the spirit of Elvis Presley. Whether, people believe that Elvis Presley is alive or not, like there are people who can transfer their spirit. Okay. It's the psychic thing. It's the connection. You're connected spiritually through the spirit. And, my channel's not for everyone. And I can feel people laughing. And that's your problem if you want to laugh. And you're probably the same people that will throw a loved one in a psychiatric unit because you won't listen to the truth. You'll listen to a fucking doctor that wants to give your family member a pill. Because when I started experiencing that in the clouds, my name was written. I seen a figure that looked like this old man with a big bushy beard, big hair. It was like somebody would say it was like looking at Santa Claus, but it would be the figure of what people would appear God to be. Okay. And I never had any image of what God would be. I was seeing 7 stars in people's eyes. And things started getting overwhelming and out of control. Okay. I was aware of everything that was happening. I went to the bar one night, like just a couple days before, like I called my son's father and said, hey, you got to come get our son because something, like I got to go to the hospital. There's something going on. So when I was at the bar, I went in and all I could hear was just noise. Like it was just people in the mind talking, people not even talking, but they were talking in the mind. And I was in the bathroom and in the mind, like the people weren't speaking physically, but in the mind, they were thinking to themselves, my God, that person out there is a fucking bitch. And they weren't saying it aloud. And someone will say, oh, well, they were saying it aloud. You just thought you were hearing it. It's like, physical apathy. So the night that I called my son's father, I was drawing a bunch of stars and crosses, upright and upside down and everything. Okay, it was just constant. And I kept asking my son, like, please don't look at me, because like it was like they'll jump in. Certain spirits will jump in to freak people out more often. That's how people get killed. That's how people end up being murdered. It's not that they're going after that person, but they're going after a version of their spirit from a past life experience with that spirit, and people don't understand that. That's why Jesus said, or Yeshua, whichever one of them said it, they know not what they say or do. Okay, that's the part of what is a possession. Okay, spirit jumpers. They're jumpers. Like when I get aggressive sometimes, it's spirit. It's spirit going after another spirit. That's the part of the exorcism. See, when they're doing an exorcism, they don't really, like a true exorcist, they're not doing it in English language. It's what they're not doing. And when I had mine, because I went to I called my mom and dad, and I called my son's father. My son's father came. I don't know who called the police, like whether it was my mom or what. I don't know, but I mean, she done the wrong thing, because the police come, and I asked the police officer to leave his gun outside. Not like I was going to hurt anything. And I had been using a butter knife or something for something, and I had it in my living room because I had eaten. And they took me to the hospital, and my fear was like, if I was ever paralyzed, because I had also contacted a pastor before going to the hospital. And when my mom and them got there, like my son's father and the nephew, they came, and I didn't go around the son's father, but I did gravitate towards the nephew because I felt safe, because the nephew had never hurt me before. So my mom came, and we went to the hospital, and the pastor met me at the hospital. And he knew, like he was praying for me. And my body was starting to like shift. And then the nurses or what have you, they come out and they took me in the back room, and I couldn't feel my legs or nothing. Couldn't feel my legs. So they took me to the psychiatric unit, and I was there for about a month. And I had a lot of weird things happening. I could tell them when somebody was coming up to the door, but I couldn't hear them coming. I'd tell them like somebody's just about to ring the buzzer, and then all of a sudden the buzzer would ring. And we were sitting with my mom, and I would say about what cars were going to come next, and I couldn't see what cars were coming. So back in 2021, I was actually manifesting like it was all white cars all around. But in 99, okay, so I got out of the hospital, and things progressively got worse. I was on medication, but things got progressively worse. I was reverting back to childlike behaviors, very slinky, and it was not my demeanor. Like I was drawing kid pictures, and I was sitting, and I was going like this on the placemat, and I was going as if I was spelling things out on a spirit board. I was taking and flicking my ashes on my parents' couch because I smoked at the time. My sister told me that my nephew and my youngest son had told her that I was floating. Okay, so people would say, well, that's demonic. Well, no, when you get into a certain vibration, you can actually float. Okay, so I was told that my eyes went completely black. My eyes went completely white. And my oldest sister, she was afraid to come near me. My mother and grandmother, they were calling all over the place trying to find somebody who could do an exorcism. Okay, we even called 100 Huntley Street. See, prior to that, my mom and dad, they were going to go away. Okay, this thing did not like the pastor. Okay, whatever was going on, it didn't like the pastor. And I'll be honest, I'm not fond of pastors because they don't know that they themselves will preach this stuff, but they'll tell you that you have a mental health issue. So you're contradicting yourself of what your teachings are. So my parents took me to the hospital. I was sitting in the waiting room and I was getting really agitated. And my mom and I, we went over for a smoke and come back in. And then they took me in the back room. I was kind of laying there and I could feel when it was coming in, I could feel it like just trying to, tries to take over. I could feel it. And it's like, yeah, I can feel that right now. And I can feel that somebody has an anger and a disdain right now. And it's like, so I was laying in the bed. My mom was next to me, and the nurse, she came in. And I'm like this. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, how's your fucking dead baby? And it was not in my voice. And the nurse, she just stops and she walks out. And she doesn't return. And then next thing I know, I'm going into a back room, into this, to speak with the psychiatric doctor. And she had a student there too. And I knew what I was experiencing. Just, it's hard to express it to the mental health community because they're into the dogma of it all. So I was sitting there and my parents were there and I looked at the doctor and I said, okay, first, before you do anything, I said, I'm going to do something. And then I want you to give me your medical opinion afterwards. She was like, okay, that's what was her medical opinion. I was sitting there and I was saying, Our Father, thou art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. And as I was doing it, the further I got into it and into it and into it, my body started convulsing. I couldn't speak no more. It was just so much that I couldn't speak no more. I was giving myself, spirit through me was giving me that exorcism, starting to perform that exorcism. And when I couldn't speak no more, it stopped. And I looked at the doctor and I said, okay, now what's your medical opinion? And she looks at me and she says, I know nothing about the spiritual stuff. I said, I didn't ask for your spiritual opinion. I asked for your medical opinion. And she looked at me, she told me, I can't give you one. Okay. Now I know that here last year or the year before, I can't remember when it was, but I went to a church and I know that they were trying to find out if I was demonic because they wanted to lay their hands on me and pray for me. I knew what they were trying to do, but it's not demonic. It's spirit. It's that part of, are you going to let your own beast run rampant or are you going to tame your own fucking beast? So they sent me home. There was no medical thing that they could do for me. So they sent me home. So that's when we started my mom and nanny started calling, trying to find somebody to perform an exorcism, even 100 Huntley Street and what have you. And then finally my mom and nanny found somebody that would do it. And we had to meet them there. Okay. So my mom contacted my dad and them, they were gone on a trip. And from my understanding, there was a prayer train going all all over the province, from what I understood. And my body was calm and still until we got to the church. See, it's that part being a believer. Okay, a believer in the Holy Spirit, in spirit, and with the Holy Spirit, you're going to have both sides of it. Okay, it's whether or not you're able to understand what it is that you're experiencing. So they started taking me into church and was trying to pull back, and I'm fighting it, trying to get in there because I knew, like, something's fucking going on, right? So it was like hollering out all this demonic stuff and cursing and swearing. So, like, that stuff that you've seen on that video, yes, it does happen. Okay. And it usually happens if it's with a pastor or a priest or an ordained or anointed, somebody who is able to do the Christ aspect of it. Head to head with it's like you're head to head with that version of your spirit. Okay. So it was like very loud, demonic and everything like that. And at points I felt like I was just going to lift right off the ground and everything. And they had me sitting, but the pastors and the priests never laid a hand on me. And the reason why that is because it transfers. Okay. And like, I'll get into it more. When we were sitting there, my mom was on one side and a guy friend was on the other side. And they were just they were sitting next to me in case. And the pastors, they were speaking in much same type of language as I do. People call it tongues. Okay. I call it the language of spirit. And we were there and then it was just like really fucked up. I'm talking fucked up. And at one point, like, we thought it was done because it was like it let go. And I was just like, and they were like, Sandra, is she okay? It's like, yeah, I think she's okay. And then all of a sudden it was just like, really fucked up. And then with one hand, it was like it grabbed hold like that. And the same thing in 2020, it was this hand. So it was the masculine side because the masculine brain works the left side of the body. So it was like this. And it was literally crushing my windpipe. And my mom and the God, a friend that was with me there, both of them took both of their hands and put it on my arm. Two grown-ass adults. And me with one arm. This. And they were pulling and they could not get that hand off of there. The pastor kept saying, Tara, come on, you got to fight it. Tara, come on, you can do this. You got to come on. And mom's saying, come on, Tara, you can do this. They're all like they're telling me I can do this. And all of a sudden my hand let go off. And I started coughing. And the pastor asked me what that was on my neck because I had a bone on my neck. Okay. Someone tried to give me bone earrings and what have you. I don't work with bones. Okay. Now, yes, I just heard indigenous communities do. Yes, indigenous do. Okay, because that's how they met. That's how they connected with their deceased families. The bones meant to them. That's the same as you get some, like certain animals or what have you. Okay. And so I got that off, and then they did it again, and then it was like, okay, I felt more calm. So I had a ring because I went through like a marriage ceremony in spirit. And they took and smashed the ring, and they told me to, anytime it started coming back, to say, in the name of Jesus. Okay. But see, the thing is, when you go through something like that, okay, it's not about, like, I don't say in the name of Jesus, because there are a lot of them that are not afraid of Jesus. Okay. I'm going to be honest. Now, after that happened, I started like getting better. I had to go 6 years fighting for custody of my son because the educational system, the justice system, the medical system, that they all used that against me to get my son back. They used my spirituality. They used my marital status. They used my ability to not have children. They used the fact that I had moved a few times. It's like, okay. So when you go through an exorcism like that, yes, it does happen. Did they lay a hand onto me? No, they did not. Okay. People also say with regards to a baptism. Okay. I've seen people that have gone through a baptism and have not changed. So it has nothing to do with you going through a water baptism. The baptism is yourself going with yourself. Water may seem like a purification. Go have a fucking shower. Yes, Jesus did go in the water. And some believe that the water does it. Okay, people will take others in the lake. They don't turn the water holy. It was always about like the submerge, not about sprinkling a few water pellets on your head or doing a cross, like keep your fucking hands off my head and don't do a cross on my head. Someone say, oh, well, you believe in the devil then. I believe in God and the devil because they're both one and the same. But people don't want to believe that. And why don't they? Because a book says so. And those same people that still want to throw shit at other people for that, they don't even read the fucking Bible. So for the ones that want to say about like what the Bible says and how this is and how that is, you have not a fucking clue unless you went through it yourself. I went through the drug detox. Not only the alcohol detox, I went through the trauma detox, and I didn't have anyone helping me in the physical world. But in the spirit world, I had them. I had the attacks, and I had the ones that were helping. I had the attacks on the spiritual spirit plane, and I had the attacks in the physical plane because they would come in the physical plane through someone else. It's called a spirit jumper, a jumper. That's where you get the part of the possession. But it's those parts of your own spirit from past lives that have beefs. That's why we get put back where we're put back. Like in friggin' 2020, when I started going through it again after I died in 2019, and I started going through it again. Spirit was doing it itself. Spirit was doing the exercising. And I can feel him right up top of my head. He's standing right there. It's like, it's that intimidation, because I can tell when a spirit jumps in. Because the energy in the room changes, the energy in my body changes, is because I can feel them right there. And he's heavy. And those are the ones, the spirits that don't want to look at themselves and don't want the truth exposed. Because if you expose the truth, then you expose the truth of what's creating it, what's keeping it going. When you have an addiction, you go through you go through a detox, but it's not just a detox. It's your body is going through its own exorcism. That's why you get the feeling like you're just in an illusion, or like what appears to be dark and demonic from other people. It's because it doesn't want to, those parts of you are struggling and don't want to let go. Like when somebody has an addiction and they've been on something for so freaking long and they're coming off of it. Do you really fucking think it's going to be all love and light? Because I hear people, love and light, love and light. Yeah, love and light. But if you're running around saying love and light, then I guess you haven't gone through the darkness and you're faking the love and light. Especially if you're still doing the stuff that you've been doing. Right now, I feel like I'm on fire. So whoever's trying to burn me at the stake, bring it. It's like people say, you're psychotic. Good. I'm glad I pierced a psychotic. It's like, do you get it yet, though? Keep telling you, spirit, but then people say, oh, well, you just don't want to take the blame for your own actions. It's like, and you want to fucking preach to me about God when you ain't got a fucking clue about it yourself. Piss you off good. Holy fuck, I'm hot. My channel's a spirit to spirit. Hence the title, Spirit to Spirit, Teachings and Going Within Self. I'm going to the spirits. I'm speaking to the spirits. So if you are experiencing anything from this, then I guess, I'm here to exorcise those demons for you. So to the ones that think, you look ridiculous, good. And if you want to shit on me, then maybe you're pathetic. Did I just insult you? Well, you take it how you will because you're going to anyways, but you think it's okay for you to do that to somebody else. But you, as the God, forbids it, right? I heard somebody say on one of these TikTok things that God is a narcissist. Yep. The one that wants to be in control of everything is the narcissist aspect of God. And that's the ego. We all have the ability to have narcissistic traits, but everybody says, oh, narcissistic. You're fucking right, you do. Empaths become, like, in order to go up against a pure narcissist, that empath has to not become and remain a narcissist, but mirror the narcissist, because the narcissist likes to be narcissistic, but doesn't like a narcissist itself. Because it doesn't like being mirrored back. Same as, we're here to bring each other from being overly empathic to overly narcissistic, because we're here to find the balance, because the feminine, they're more of the empath. The masculine is more of the ego, because the masculine always feels like it has to be in that protective mode. So right now, where I am between, I'm both masculine and feminine. But sometimes the feminine part of me gets pissed off at the masculine part, because it's always like, are you okay? Or maybe you shouldn't do this. It's like, I have to ask, who's the one that's actually in fear of something? So right now, what we're doing is, it's more of a, we're releasing the traumas and the addictions. You're seeing Donald Trump go through the things that he's going through because he's fighting with his feminine side. He's in the masculine, the always got to be in command and in charge, and makes no sense. And a lot of people say, well, I'm not seeing that. Well, I'm looking in the middle. I'm seeing both sides of it. And it's like any person. I seen it with Doug Ford. And 4-4 on the timer as I'm saying that. I see it with everyday people. I see it with myself. So it's not like I'm saying that I'm perfect and I don't go through this stuff. As some people will say that, oh, well, you think you're perfect, or you think you know everything. No, but I'm not perfect, but I do know what I know, and what I know and bring out is what I know from experience. So the thing is, the church, which is a contradictory of itself, and pretty hypocritical of itself, because it'll about all the stuff that's in the Bible, but it'll demonize this stuff. But the rituals that they do, it's not demonic, right? Like, seriously. You know, look at your tarot cards. High Priestess. Priest, High Priestess, you know. See, you go into churches and you speak about this stuff, and holy shit, man. I guess you don't like you might want to you pick verses out of the places out of the Bible, and then you run with that. But you're not making any sense of it, because in actuality, you should be cross-referencing all sides of it at the same time. See, the thing is, people read about Saul in the Bible, how Jesus fought up against Saul, right? Do you any of you know who the fuck Saul was? Because Saul was actually Peter, or sorry, not Peter, Paul, because Peter was Simon. Seriously, don't you think you got like two different names? Why two different names? And each one of them had two different names, basically. Do you not see what's actually being shown to you? There was a Peter and there was a Simon. One was Simon, whether it was on the side with Jesus or on the side with Yeshua. But see, people won't get that. They won't understand that. They'll just, well, they had two names. They were two different people. I watched someone say about, oh, how great the Bible was and how it gave all these great things of telling you how to do things. It's like, seriously? Because I read about a lot of killing that Jesus, like you're saying that Jesus was going to kill these people, or God was going to come and kill these people. Well, if they were going to kill those people and those people are just the fucking same, why are they killing those people and not those fucking people too? Why is it just one group of people? You're all the fucking same. Doesn't matter what fucking belief you have or what side you think you're on. Been doing it to each other for fucking millenniums. People say about what is it? Not the atomic bomb. Doing nuclear missiles and nuclear warfare or war. How many of you knew that 13,000 years ago, 13,000 years ago, the same thing happened then? But you think, oh, this is new? You know, when you go through your spiritual awakening, you start like seeing, like things come to me, things are brought to me, whether it be through video, and I can feel that. And someone's in here that got disdain for me. But that's fine. Whether it's because you believe it or you're unsure, or you're in that thought of, I can't believe that. And right now I got a vision going through my head, and I've got a vision that someone's running. It's like, get back here, you fucking bastards, is what I'm hearing. And I'm kind of seeing it. I had visions where like somebody threw a kamikaze cocktail on me, and I literally could feel it. And then my ex-husband told me that he was at a port somewhere, and he's seen a couple of guys come throw a kamikaze cocktail on someone and light him on fire. But my ex-husband didn't run to put him out. And that's what I couldn't understand. So you have visions. People can say that an exorcism isn't real. Some of it can be staged. But an exorcism, a true exorcism, can be extremely dangerous. It's the same as someone detoxing. It can be dangerous for them alone, and it can be dangerous if they're detoxing with others around, because they become aggressive. They become demonic-like, and you'll say, well, it's demons. Fuck off. It's the darkness of your ancestral line. It's telling you. That's why I tell people, go back. Like my sixth great granddaddy had a religious seal. Do you think it's a coincidence that I had an exorcism? It was the Catholic Church. I just read something today that the Catholic Church sees Mother Mary as the mother of the church. You all say you're looking for a man to be God, not seeing that women can be too. Women are too. But in some eyes of the church, you think that you want to bring about mental health, but you want to mock and criticize people who go through it. You're pretty pathetic doing that. You know that, right? Makes you extremely hypocritical. Don't you see that the holistic healing, the natural healing, is the parallel world, the opposite world to what the church preaches? They have their rituals. The church has their rituals. Better go get your piece of bread. Don't forget your wine so you can eat the flesh and drink the blood of Christ. That's demonic, if you ask me. I'm serious. Especially the way they depict it. It's pretty cannibalistic. And why do they figure that it's done? Because it's said to be the fountain of youth, right? That's demonic. The actual flesh and blood, the flesh is the land, what grows on the land. Not the animals, but what grows on the land. And the blood is the water. It runs through the veins of the earth. Which, in a sense, if they're talking about that, they are talking about the actual flesh of the body, the human body, because you are that church, you are that earth. You are built up of the universe. When you're doing a healing on someone, it's not about saying, oh, like heal these blood cells, this body part or that body part. No. You're complicating it. You're not putting the focus where it needs. You're not putting the focus where it needs to be. You're not putting the healing where it needs to be. It's not about being all medical term. Like they may as well go to a fucking doctor. You work with the chakras because each chakra gives a body part. That's the demonic part of it. That's the demons. That's the spirits. That's the seven stars, seven sisters. And then you have the the planets. You are the infrastructure of the universe itself. Look at your eyes. And then go look at images, what they show in the universe. You got your pupil. What's your pupil? Your pupil is the black hole. But because I'm not speaking in medical terms and I'm not speaking in Bible terms, I must not know what I'm talking about. But that's what makes it so that I know and understand what I'm talking about. Because I'm not looking in the Bible for answers. I'm not looking in the medical system for answers. I'm looking to my spirit. Shit. Oh, for freak's sakes, frig off. See, when I was talking about the possession part, I seen someone come in that I know, and they wanted to be invited in. Did I bring him in? No. And why didn't I bring him in? Because I haven't brought anybody in right now. Because I'm not here to have an argument with someone. And this person would just try to gaslight me. See, I can understand why some people say, hey, go away from your family if you want to go away from your family. Go away from people if you want to heal. I can see why they would say that, and I would understand why they'd say that. See, these people that they had in that video, what were their demons? What were they doing that would warrant that kind of reaction. I've had people pray on me the only time that anything fucking weird happened, like I said, and then they weren't even touching me. Tisela ko domani sarigire asoleta eso kwasahan. Sima ko toprike to pise nuno dayan alepitore la kurie kukusoe. So you had images like, hey, Trump, I'd love to have a conversation with you in these languages. If you were anointed and you were chosen, and I'm not going to say chosen, okay, because people say he was anointed. The more you become anointed, the more you start speaking the language of spirit, the more you start coming into your abilities to directly connect. And you will connect with the dark and you will connect with the light. But wait a minute. Aren't you already doing that now? But you're just calling it, oh, well, God and the devil. Did you ever hear that saying, the she-devil? They call her the she-devil. She was the feminine part of God who did not want to be controlled by a man because they were put here to be to each other. So when I went through my exorcism, both times I've gone through all this, it was the masculine side trying to rip apart the body of the woman. So what you're doing when you detox your body, whether it be from addictions or traumas, or just overwhelmed by outside forces where you're coming into it full blown, and you don't know how to get a grip on it. It's the inner beast. The beast you're going to find is you. That's the beast you're going to find. The beast is in you. You know, Beauty and the Beast. Beauty was the woman and the beast was the man. The feminine, the masculine. You know, you say about the Olympians were all gorgeous and beautiful, and the Titans were the misfits. They were all said to be scary looking, and true ugliness comes from inside. And I just heard, I think she's holier than thou. No. But do you know what holy is? Wholeheartedly. You're wholly connected. You're Holy Spirit. You're whole. You're one with spirit. You're one with yourself. You're one with divine. You're one with the God, the devil. We're trying to get rid of one over the other because somebody says it in a book. And then if somebody, burned a Bible, that's demonic. Why is it any more demonic than, okay, how do I put this? Okay. You condemn people to burn a Bible, but it's okay to, you condemn somebody for shooting down the Bible or questioning the Bible. You question the Bible, we have these fucking scholars to do it for us. Seriously? What? What? Because they have a bunch of different books? I've seen the Bible bring a lot more conflict than what somebody wearing a crystal brought. Or someone who read about sacred healing. Somebody who's hooked into the big pharma and they got to have those pills because that's the only way. They'll condemn somebody who has a book of plant medicine. And I felt that. Do you know that in British Columbia, they are getting rid of 400 ostriches? They're killing them because they say that it had avian flu. It's all cleared up. They don't need to kill those. But see, the thing is, it's the food services, it's CDC or what have you, and it's all connected back to big pharma. And ostrich eggs, the yolks, have medicinal purposes. That's why they actually want to. Do you not realize that? They tell you spray pesticides on your lawn to get rid of all the bugs and the ticks. They're telling you to spray fucking food because dandelions are food. They're also medicinal. Everything they tell you that are weeds, they don't want you knowing that they're not just weeds. They're medicinal because you can get them for free. Do I know how to put together medicinal stuff? No, because I don't really use it. I use my energy. It wasn't a pill that helped me. It wasn't a doctor that helped me. It wasn't family or friends that helped me in the sense of being there for me. Behavior just pissed me off, but it helped me a lot at the same time. And I can feel that. It's like the shadow is coming to the surface because I can feel it screaming all the way up. It's you're going through your own Pandora's box. What the mother feels, the mother feels. And the father was originally the child of the mother. So don't talk about demonic stuff. Oh. Hi. Where the hell are you? Okay. I just heard the cat meow. That's weird. Not at my door, not right there. So, okay. No. Yeah, I can do it too. Are you ready now? You came to the door now and you took off. How rude. See, sometimes, well, I use frequencies. But there's a few people in my family, but it's on my mom's side, that they're into understanding this stuff. Maybe not right to the to the part that I explain, but shit, that needs watering. They understand about crystals. One of my cousins, she's learning to do feng shui. Feng shui is how your body, when you're doing feng shui, you can, when I put something somewhere, I can feel whether or not that's the spot where it's meant to be. And that sounds pretty messed up. I know, believe me, it's messed up when I feel it. And sometimes it's just like, you know, it's like I override it. It's like, well, it's going to stay there for now. But sometimes my body will say, no, it doesn't, it off kilters my body. It's the same as if you bring something into your home. It makes the atmosphere different because, especially if it's secondhand, something can have an attachment to it. It can be attached to it. Somebody's energy can be attached to it when somebody passes on. They say that this thing is possessed or what have you. Last night I was going through TikTok and I seen these people and they had a green light or something and they were in the dark and they were in this place and it was really fucking weird because it looked like identical to the part of my dad's living room back a few years ago. Just when you walked in and you looked straight ahead, the way it had the door and it had that little window there. So that was pretty fucked up when I seen that. And it was weird because it had this doll. And they were talking to it and I kept putting in there, like it was in the doorway first, and then I felt it, and it was just like the doll. So they were looking for it and asking for it to show itself, and it was in the fucking doll. I actually went to a museum where I went upstairs, and no word of a lie, like I fucking freaked out, and the woman was she kind of laughed because it was like something ran behind the back of my leg and went like that on the back of my leg. And I looked around and I was like, what the hell? And it creeped me out a little. And then I was walking, and then again, only it went up around here. And I was like, what the hell was that? And I'm looking around to see if any windows open. No, there's open. I was like, holy shit, it feels like there's a get around my legs. So we kept walking, and then all of a sudden we walked into this room. It was all kids stuff. I ain't old stuff. And then something guided my attention this way. And when I went that way, there was a doll laying in the fucking stroller bed thing. I go to these places because I'm not there to exploit these things. these things, these spirits that are attached. I'm there to be that exorcist, to find out, to have that communication, to find out what's really going on. Some of them, you're going in, people are going in there and you're fucking speaking English and what have you. Do you really think they're afraid of you? Seriously, do you really think they want you there? All you're doing when you're going in there and exploiting them is pissing them off. That's the demonic shit. You think they're your fucking entertainment. They're not your entertainment. They're spirits that are stuck in a loop. Why the fuck do you think there's mediums? Do you think it's all for fucking fun and games and to make profit? No. You're mediums to help the spirits move on, not exploit them and think that it's all fucking fun and games and it's profitable. When people are reading their cards, you're actually helping. Some are fake on here, and I can tell the fake ones. But see, is it that they're fake? Or are they just starting to learn how to do it? Because some people, they are left to have to learn how to do it themselves because the ones that should be teaching them how to do it are too worried about that those people, if they learn how to do it, they're going to take the fucking profit from them. Once in a while, if I'm talking to someone individually and I'm working through their traumas, Spirit will guide me to get a card because some people only speak in that language because they think that the cards are going to give them the answers. But it's that part of also remembering. It's people will say, well, it's for entertainment purposes only. Well, I mean, to a degree, it's for entertainment, but are you feeling a good thing when you're hearing those cards being read to you? Are you feeling a good thing in your body? Are you understanding what it's telling you? Because, I'll tell you right now, you shouldn't be asking people, if you're getting cards or anything like, why are you asking if you're going to get back with your boyfriend or girlfriend or what is going to work out for you? Why don't you first off start and find out what's holding you back from moving forward? I'm not like the kind of therapist or that will sit there and give you an hour to talk and just say, oh, well, that must have made you feel pretty bad. It's like, seriously. Whoever fucking taught you to say shit like that in your practice, it's very fucking patronizing and fucking annoying. And that's why people don't want to go. People are already there because they feel like it's traumatized them or that it hurts. They don't need you to remind them because they already fucking know and say to them, oh, well, that must have hurt. Well, here, you go experience it and then come back and tell me, oh, now, and how did that make you feel? And if there are therapists in this live right now and they're getting irritated with what I'm saying, good. You should be. But you should be irritated with yourself and whoever taught you to ask to be like that with your patients. Because you're not there to patronize. You're there to ask the hard questions. You're there to help them pull out this. And it's not going to be all love and light. It's not going to be all sweetheart and well, here, let me write that down. It's raw. When you're working with somebody that is going through PTSD or depression or as what you class as schizophrenia or psychosis or anything like that, you need to get to their memory. And I'll tell you right now, this hour fucking shit, that's bullcrap. Mental health is what you class as mental health has increased so badly, and it's so much on demand because there's the people out there that are supposed to be don't understand what it is that they're dealing with. You're not just working with one person. You're working with a multitude of spirits. And when, like, if I'm sitting with a therapist, I can tell when a jumper comes into that therapist because they're one way, and then all of a sudden they want to shift it back to make you feel bad about what you're experiencing. Not helping you find out what the good point was of it. Whether you're a priest, a pastor, or what have you, or whether you're a mental health professional or just a mother, sister, brother, father, friend, grandparent. When you become a mental health, as you say, professional, they should be training you for everything, teaching you everything. First and foremost, teaching you how to bring up the seed, how to move the soil within it so that that seed can get the oxygen to breathe and expand. You look at them as if they're one person, they're one avatar, but they are many spirits. That's why sometimes in mine, it's all over the place. And I explain what they're witnessing. It's like the ones that say nobody else acts like you. No. How many people acted like Jesus? How many people acts like you? Oh, wait, maybe many, because you're so far in the dogma that you better walk like a soldier and not be a fucking warrior. You know, they call Peter Simon. What's that saying? Simon says, dance like a monkey for me. Right? So they preach about demonic possession. They don't teach it as the aspect of spirit, which is pretty fucked up because that's what it is. I'm getting the word for demonic. It'll come to me when it's ready. There are people that want me to co-host with them, and I've never done that before. I'm a little nervous of it because where I constantly channel spirit, it may end up telling people off. I can get pretty fucking wrong. I'll make you laugh. I'll make you cry. I'll piss you off. You want to slap me upside my head. You'll love me, hate me, like me, loathe me. And some will even say I belong in the loony bin. Well, I've already been there, like I said, four times in less than 2 years, and they diagnosed me as unexplained. And if they think that I don't know that they're observing me, trying to figure me out, excuse me, good luck. It's like if you're still trying to figure me out, then you're not listening to what I'm saying. Yana nakumatay na yasnain. Elapture shalai soroga. Kiane mi se no monea noya. Lera shalakila de monea. Uri shalala kola namate. Kimata no is muno kana yes noya. Yanonoya. Yamoto es dui. It's like, little kid. Yeah, shut up, Kisara. I want to fly. Queremos no parece que no mota da no. It's like, what would you do? I said to people before, like, what would you do if all of a sudden I just started floating in the air? I'd fucking shit myself. But no, people would think, oh, it's demonic. Was Jesus demonic when you say that he lifted up in the cloud? See, people don't believe that stuff actually exists because you're told that it doesn't exist in the material, like, ignorant world. And then in your biblical text, well, it's told that it's demonic. Like, shit. Hey, fuckers, you're saying they're damned if they do and damned if they don't, but you know, you're the ones fucking damning them. My channel's spirit to spirit. It's usually your immediate family and the ones that say that they're closest to you that don't understand going through this. I didn't come in here to debate with people or to tell them that what they've learned was wrong. Because there's truth in it all. But it's so buried. The truth is so buried that it leads you to believe that the world is fucked. I told my dad the other day that, they will all have generational wealth, abundance. About my creation, the creation that Spirit brought to me. Because we all have a creation. But my Spirit brought it to me. And I'm putting it out there. And my dad said, well, you're 50 now. It's like, yeah, Dad, I'm 50. I'm 50 years old. You could be fucking 80, 85 years old. And bring something to the people. Invent it. Age does not fucking matter. If you think that it's young people that invent everything, well, holy shit. And then you begin to wonder, like, if I'm doing my own, and all those ones that naysayed me and tried to distract me or tried to make me feel less than what I was, and that it was a frivolous idea and it wasn't going to go nowhere, and what have you. It's such your insecurities, AK. Weird. I'm just oh, piss off. Okay. Now, I asked like what AK symbolized in the Bible, so it searched Bible study tools, AK parts of speech, adverb, AK definition, NAS word usage, total 140 times. And number one, it says, indeed, surely, empathic. I've seen it. The reason why everything happens for a reason. No such thing as coincidence, just synchronicities. But I was looking out there, when I said the letters, when I said AK, Spirit told me to see what it was in biblical terms. And it says, indeed, surely, empathic, albeit only but yet restrictive. So you're empathic, but you're being restrictive. Like I'll tell you, like I said it. My sixth grade granddaddy had a religious seal, and his let's see, how would it go? His great, my great Grammy. So it would be his great third, around third or fourth great granddaughter. Okay. Her father, well, I mean, not her but her grandson was married. His grandson married my she was my great Grammy by marriage. Her father, so that would be, she would be my great Grammy. He would be my great grandfather. Okay. So her father, his father before him, and before him, and before him, 11 generations, they were rabbis. And they were Yeshua, Solomon. And the last name was Levi. Like it was Levi, but I believe it was spelled with an I because Halevi. And they were all rabbis. Back to the 11th generation. There was a David, a Jersium, Nathan. It was either Nathan, I got Nathan at the thing when I looked it up. Asher, Moses, Raphael, Yeshua, Isaac, Yishka, Moses, Solomon, Ben Isaac. You know, I watched a video and Donald Trump was talking about Solomon. Feel it standing on my head again. Donald, you hear your name? Or who should I call you this time? You already used the name Donald twice for sure. You know, I said Donald Trump he's talking in well, riddles, but you know, the Riddler. The dark one. The crocodile talked in riddles. The dark one, the crocodile, and Rumpelstiltskin were the same. You say Jesus spoke. Donald Trump is at the far spectrum of all about money, greed, and ignorance, and self. And some of you will say that he's doing this, but see, it's if you look on both spectrums, he's doing good things in one side, and the darker side, they'll say that it's doing good things because on the dark side, he's going against the light. On the light side, he's going against the dark. So it sounds like it's in parables. In some of his stuff that he gets up there talking about, he's telling you in foolish language that you'd have to know and understand what it is he's trying to say, because they're in April, I have a video up. I did a live. It was, I believe, 1 or 2 days prior to the Pope passing away. And I did this. That's what I wrote down. And it had about the priest chaplain, Roman Catholic chaplain, armed services, arms, influence, power, means, support of conquest. He was talking about baseball, the pitchers with the water, the jars, the charity, a woman carrying water. Briefly, above all, mainly, the Pope. You looked at your Pope, and the Pope, and then a couple of days later, the Pope died. I channeled, I understood that. It would have been the day before J.D. Vance went and seen the Pope. Rebecca, the water, the pitcher in the Bible, it was Rebecca who they had said about carrying the pitcher of water. It was the Israelites, Edomites, Jordan, and Israel. And then the baseball was Bulbus, Lucas Cornelius. Minor Roman, political general. See, back a while ago, I told my nephew about back in 2020, before anything went down, I said about, and I didn't know, like I was getting the Red Sea or something like that, that there was going to be a war in the Red Sea, because I was seeing it through the clouds and in the sky. It was showing me an army. It was like it was ships in the water and planes in the sky. I still have the picture. I even have a picture where when I first started going through this, it was like the tail of a scorpion, but it was like not the tail of it looked like kind of like a tail of a scorpion, but it was like a native spear. And it was like a thing that was being thrown through the sky, and it was in a cloud form. So it was like, hey, the warrior, I go through the woods like this. When I'm walking, I walk like this, and then it's like, it's a Remembrance Day. Remembering the spirits. Those spirits are trying to tell you by showing you what they experienced. So are you really experiencing it, or are your ancestors showing you, and they're just showing you in our everyday people, because those are the spirits of the ones that done it to. Not per se the person, but the spirit that they're showing you, that you're seeing. And it's 1:44 on the timer as I say this, the 144,000. What everyone thinks it's the number of people that came to help. Maybe it's for every one spirit, there's 144,000 of them for each. Some say it's a band of frequencies. But do you think spirit's not a frequency? Sela que tu mulher, ni que tu pulisha la que tu mulher. Maybe I don't make sense to some people. Maybe I look like a raging lunatic to others. Maybe to others, they figure, oh, or they'll tell everybody else, pay no attention to her. And to that person that says, pay no attention to me, go fuck yourself. Maybe you were the problem to begin with. See, who was jealous of Mary Magdalene? Who said that it was Peter, right? It was a lot of the men. I think it was Levi, was it? That actually took the side of Mary Magdalene. Coincidence? Levi? 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 They just changed the spelling of it. My mother's name, there's a castle named after her that has this coincidence, same last name as my family. They say the Scots Irish, a lot of them were Druids. My other, so the Druids, the Masons, the Templars. Hey, que la topo. So I say, like, I'll tell my ex-husband, sometimes I'll call him Donald. Sometimes I'll look at him and say, yeah, Dad. Or, I'll tell him that he's like my oldest son. But see, it's that part of knowing spirit and where those spirits reside. Because you see the different versions of them, whether they look identical or not. Didn't they say that both he could choose who he wanted to come back as or what he wanted to look like? See, I can look at people just by their facial features, and I know exactly who they are, Horace. See, Horace is my great granddaddy. Isis and Thoth. Oh, you're saying about ISIS. They really they have a group called ISIS, and they say it's a terrorist group. I'd be curious to know the whole inside and out of it. Da Vinci. That's the part when they say about exercising. It's what traumas are you fighting? What's so scary that you're fighting that trauma? That part of your spirit wants to be seen, but you're not allowing it. I want you to think of the word, what song you sing. Hallelujah. Seriously. You know, some of the things that are on my bricks. Because they're stonemasons, right? Okay, if you look at ancient times, okay, seriously, look at ancient times. You say he was a carpenter. What form of carpenter? Which he might have been building things. What was he building? You say he was building houses. How many houses in that? How many places in that time was actually built from wood? Seriously. He may have been a carpenter at one point, working with wood. But a carpenter to me is someone who builds houses. See, I look at my bricks and I've never seen bricks like this before. Seriously. Siinä mä käynyt ihan noissakin. Täytyy paljon kissuputun mertaa. Eli minä pada kaya kurusi san. Sini ko topri
The
kassan.
idea and interpretation the church has for demonic possession is something that is wide.
Stop, dude. Mä sanon kiinni, mä katsoin pussun noin. Noin. Alle pitää pori. I'm trying to access, but no. Shit. I'm trying to find something. Oh, hold on. Where is it? Like that. It's like my bricks. That's oh shit. Again and again. Get over here. See, I've never seen bricks like that. And I know it's a language. That's what I know. It's to remind me. And I never, when I first came here, I didn't really notice it. And then when I started going through my awakening, I'd sit here and I just look at the bricks. Because I know that spirit will leave you breadcrumbs and messages. Because I've had people say, the light has come home. So who recognizes people? Who recognizes your spirit? And who are we supposed to remember we are? You know, if we have one name, we have the other, right? We have like if you look at Yeshua, okay, and Jesus. Some believe them to be the same person, but I see them to be two different people. It's like the doppelganger effect. Okay. I know that I'm going from parallel world, and multiverse to multiverse in different ways. Okay. I've even like had a vision, and it was like I was actually there, and and it was a fucking gingerbread house. It was an actual gingerbread house, and they were tearing it down, and I took a piece. And it's like, and another time, I was like walking somewhere, and then all of a sudden, these people come out from the air. They come down from the air, not in anything. And one of them stood in front of me, and she was an actress, and she stood in front of me and told me that she was my mother. And then all of a sudden I was in this weird room, like it was full of bunk beds, and I had a baby with me. And there was 3 or 4 other actors sleeping in the same room in bunk beds. And then I had another one where, like, I was walking through a hall. We were in this building, and my youngest son's grandmother was with me. And I seen looking out, and it was like snow. But then all of a sudden, I looked to the left to me through this window, and there was this little horse there. It was like made. It looked like it was made out of snow, and it had wings. It was like a pony with wings, but it didn't look like it looked like a horse, but not like a horse, but differently. It was cute. And then all of a sudden there was ships coming around. One where I was it was like I was in a building somewhere, and I was looking out the window, and I saw the ships going by. Sometimes it's like I'm seeing the ships go by here. It's like you see them come in at Christmas time. Like no word of a lie. I was looking out my window. I had just woken up, and I was looking out my window, and it looked like a plane coming, but then it come around, and it come in front of the window. It was like it was up over above the pond, and it was like a triangular ship. It was like that, and then it was like there were four deer, 4 reindeer, like reindeer, but they were girl deer. And there was this, it was like it was almost like it would have been a Santa Claus, but it was thinner, and it was just a sleigh with him standing up in it, and he was waving. And then it was like, like think of Frozen, okay? Olaf, except this was like a more of a snowman, like almost like Frosty, and it was on a flying saucer. And then I kind of like shook my head, and then it was gone. And right as soon as that happened, I could hear my ex-husband coming down the stairs on Christmas Day. It was Christmas Day morning around 6:30 in the morning. My ex-husband come down and he says to me, he said that he heard Santa Claus up at the top of the chimney rustling in the chimney. Sometimes I say that it's my great granddaddy that has himself attached to my ex-husband. Because you know that Christmas song, Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Only Grandpa and I knew, or something like that, however the song goes. They say, and I even told my therapist, like, when my sixth grade granddaddy was building ships, was he actually building, like, floating water ships? Seriously. Dice la que tú por queremos tu sea. It's like, give us our fucking ships back. And as far as your immigration, those are the families that got sent away from here. They're just coming back, and you haven't done your fucking genealogy to realize that. This is your detoxing. The world is getting a full-blown exorcism. And to some, it appears fucked up. They're through it. Like some say, well, I don't care. I don't care. They're not my relatives. Yeah, you're fucking right. They were your relatives. And they are your relatives. Whether they're first or second cousins or not. Excuse me, that was confirmation. And so was that. If it wasn't for them, do you fucking think you'd be here? But they're not your relatives? It's like, hello? And you're shitting on them? You say about certain groups, they're dirty. There's a number 5 in the sky, but they're dirty. Well, why? What you do, steal everything from them and leave them with nothing and then expect them to be clean? Like shit. Literally. It's like, fuck. You know, so many people don't know how to fucking share. People that have nothing share more than people that have everything. I think they call those the ones that think they're entitled. You know, you're not the only ones that are entitled. Everyone's entitled to it. You just think you're better than them. People want to think that I come off as a judgmental person or egotistical, self-absorbed. That's where you're wrong. I may be sitting with myself, but at the same time that I'm sitting with myself, I'm sitting with everyone else. So you talk about your demonic, you talk about your demons. Then face them. No matter how scary they look. It was like my demon looked like something that was skinned alive. Just looked like organs and muscle and but really fucking creepy looking. It was more slashing, peeled. And one fucking weird demonic looking dog too. How is what you make it? How well are you making the kingdom of God out there? How's it coming along for you? And then ask yourself, when you got to that kingdom of God, what do you have to do first? You have to meet your demon. So you have to meet your devil. You have to meet your God. Because they say you meet your maker. So what version of yourself are you going to meet? And I feel people stuck on that. Like, what the fuck you mean? Well, the way you live your life, the choices you make, makes you right. At least that's what some say. what I went through is what made me who I am today. And I know people are thinking, well, it's the way people are out there. Well, if you think that way, then that person's going to think that the way it's going to be, right? So how about instead of thinking that way, think another way, and they might do the same thing, and then there's no clashing. Because you start seeing both sides. I like having my desk where it's, so no matter where I am, I like my desk looking out a nice window. When I first started going through this, all the clouds looked cartoony. Looked like frogs and turtles and weird looking faces. Sometimes they even look like grays. Right now, I'm getting one out there. It looks like what would have been close to one of the original hominins. Not quite the full um, primate face. People would say it almost looks cartoony. So, it's like looking past what you see, looking beyond it. And some will say, but would you believe it was a pink elephant? Well, maybe. They painted their elephant pink. They are starting to put some kind of shit in and manipulate DNA so that they can make different colored animals. I had someone say to me at the hospital one day, they told me about an experience that they had. Like, yeah, I can totally relate to that because there was a painting. They couldn't understand the painting. It was at one place, and then he ended up seeing it somewhere else, and he got blamed for something that he didn't do, which, you're astral traveling. So just remember that. You're affecting the life of somebody else too when you're astral traveling. It's the laws of the universe. Yeah, I got everything, but I don't really read it. Just a glance. Oh, shit, that's cool. Just when I'm looking at my glasses, it was like a line like that. It was like when you look at the outline in the map, just the way the sun is reflecting. The sun is getting brighter. Okay. So everything is starting to look brighter. Okay. The more you ascend, the sun will get brighter. Okay. But, you know, the sun will get brighter. Everything else will become brighter and more vibrant. You'll see more colorful clouds. I see a lot of people like they've been seeing the Northern Lights. I haven't seen those yet, but I know when I see them, it's going to be cool. I stopped taking stars and galaxies because I started relating it to the human body. And just the way he was talking, it was like he didn't make sense. Yourself. No, like I'm looking up at the cloud, and that's exactly what I did right there was exactly like the face and the expression type thing that I'm seeing like that. So it's bringing that childlikeness back. It's like Ghostbusters, you know. Yeah, the plasma, people are posting on here about ball lightning. Could be Sonic. How do they show Sonic shows up? Lightning, right? I just heard that would be fucking freaky weird if it was. Yeah. I'm never really, I'm not alone. I'm never really alone. I'm alone in the physical, but I'm a lot in the spirit. It's not because I'm antisocial, because I can be pretty fucking social when I get out. I can be pretty fucking pretty sarcastic sometimes too. That I'd like. Right now, I want to be able to be less so in my masculine and more in my feminine. But right now, I'm happy being balanced in the way that, sometimes the masculine aspect of me can become very, but it's that part. I'm still working with my feminine and my masculine. We're still working things out. It's like the child in the middle telling the grown-ups to grow the fuck up. And sometimes the same too. Yeah, I've heard you peckerhead at Wiener. I was in the city one day, and it was really weird. It was so weird, and I told others to look, and it looked like a big foot coming down from the sky. It's a cloud, and it looked like a big foot. So cool. I tried to get a picture of it, but they wouldn't stop. Yeah. The sky has a lot to say. The earth has a lot to say. see a lot of people have they don't want to talk about anything. And they don't want to talk about anything because it hits a nerve. How are you going to resolve anything if you're not talking about it? If you're leaving other people in charge to say what's really going on instead of talking to one another. Like, wonder why our kids don't know how to talk to us, why they're not hearing us or listening to us. It's because we're not hearing and listening to them. A child would be more able to tell a parent or parents what's happening in the relationship easier than they'd be able to know themselves, because the kids are actually observing it all, not just from one side, they're seeing both. I just caught somebody just bursted out laughing. Yeah, nice and me estudo kusui. Kila tudo isso eu tomo de tarai tudo que é bom. É tudo isso que eu tô com assim, não vejo não. I have to ask, like, if people can't be authentic, what are they embarrassed of? Who told them they should be embarrassed of being authentic? I know mine was because people thought that I was crazy for saying the things that I was experiencing. I used to climb the walls. Like, well, I mean, the door casings. And I loved climbing the door casings. And I would just get right up to the top and I'd punch myself over on the wall and let everybody climb between. This is the part of when you are exercising. True exorcism is not supposed to be something that is hurts. It will hurt. Isso chama esse que makata ainda ko ela isso é aqui. Mhm. Okay, just one sec. Let's see what that is. Oh crap. Okay, I was asked to do. Spirit wanted me to poem. Yeshua sino mo na yasa niya ako rin. Alam mo to stile. Kiara tu shala yasurwe kam. Kila tutori siare te que haruno dure. Sior shala sure. Kila tole sino mo na yasa ya. Ushi mo kushi mo. Right now, what I'm experiencing is like when I put this on, it was like spirits recognizing one another. Ila totoriskia. Yesterday. Right now, it's just a breathing and a healing of energy, healing with the theism. Yeah. Yeah. Ure. Sì, assolutamente toiamo questo sì, sa, su See, it's weird to see. Maybe me go and do that. Okay, but I see different. Like I see people on here dressed differently. They're wearing things on their head and what have you. They're being authentic. I'm from looking at my throughout my life, okay, and then seeing the versions of my ancestors, whether it was like or through biblical or through spiritual or like just physical, what have you. I'm understanding the different versions of things. So You're yourself, but you're different versions of yourself, depending on the situation. Okay. You're adapting, but are you being truthful when you're adapting to it? Are you understanding what it is that you're experiencing or witnessing? I know that got weird. I'm able to be my authentic self because I am being myself. If I was being aggressive, I would have to ask myself, why am I being aggressive? Because my behaviors are on me. Okay. Going through it and understanding what my body is. That's why I explain when I'm going through this and I'm on here with you. I'm explaining what it is that I'm experiencing because I'm aware of what I'm experiencing. I'm aware whether it is something that I'm being shown, not just in a visual, but also in the energetic field of it. Like earlier when I said that like my body was on fire. Okay. It's like you could refer back, yes, I heard Blair Witch, right? Or what have you. Okay. I've heard of that. But the trials, right? And yes, I know. But just when you said the Blair Witch, I triggered to a horror movie that people watched years ago. But I didn't watch it. I heard the name. But they do. They demonize everything. And was a prime example because that association to me it was all darkness. So we were made to be afraid of our own ancestral gifts. But we also lose them if we use them inappropriately. It only happens for so long. Yeah, because you have to know, like, was it like why did it happen? Because if you watched the movie Charmed, sometimes they had to use, they see it as others would see it as being dark magic, but it was going up against a different type of magic. It's like you want to say to them, like, hey, why don't you just freaking grow up? Like you loved each other at one point. But the thing about with regards to the part where you had loyalty, there's always one that wants to be above the rest. So they'll do heinous things to get that. Like, okay, if you look back in the times of Greek or what have you, Roman, what have you, I'm using this as an example right now. And you had Gaia and Uranus. Okay, any of you are familiar with Gaia and Uranus? Well, Gaia gave birth to Uranus. Uranus became her husband. Okay, it was like son, husband, father. Or sorry, son, husband, and brother. right? Because if you look at it, okay, well, you say fall, it was a leap of faith because she became pregnant. She went through the hole. It's like she created her own universe. She was pregnant when she created that universe, and she gave birth to a boy. The boy grew up. It was like a union. So she was pregnant by the father, which would make the child also her brother, which sounds a little fucked up. He was her son because he was born of her. And she was married to him. I know that's like, okay. She duplicated versions of herself in a male form. But it was one man. That one man was her son, her brother, and her husband. So, because he was her brother, son, and husband, it was like the dominion. He was supposed to be, Uranus was supposed to be, Uranus was said to be the king. Okay, one hat. We'll say that. Okay. But that would have made Gaia the queen. But then Gaia gave birth to children. Okay. You think of when you take a lion and what does it do? It will attack it will attack the male child. It doesn't want that to happen. Right? So that's what, when it was created, then that the two of them, he didn't want the children. So he held the children in Gaia, wouldn't give her children, let her children free. The youngest, okay, say Willie, would he be the one that you would perceive to be? I'm going to say like Donald Trump. Okay, didn't want successors. Don't anybody take insult to that. If you do, well, you're not getting the story yet. Okay. So he has a sister. It's Cronus, what they call him, Willie. Okay. Willy Wonka. Okay. You'd say that he was a little off in the mind, and that's where you would get what you perceive to be more of the cannibalistic side of it. Okay. And I say that because it has that he ate his children, that Kronos ate his children. Okay. But that Cronus cut the testicles of Uranus off because Cronus would be the only one to help Gaia. So Kronos wanted the throne. Kronos ended up at the throne. Some say that Uranus was dead. Others say that Uranus was put somewhere. And, maybe that's where you're getting the psycho at. The The sad part is that people will kill for the throne. They will kill for the torch. You look in that skating, those two girls where that one busted that woman's knee or leg or something. It's that always wanting to be first and never wanting to be last. Maybe last is pretty quiet back there. Right now, I'm having a throat chakra release this pressure pushing out. Yeah, welcome to the meltdown channel. It's okay to melt down. It releases the poison. Yeah. Even my great granddad is showing me how much of an asshole it was. Because from what I've like, but I could see where my sixth grade granddaddy, if he was an asshole, I could see where he would be an asshole, considering he was standing there at 1.5 when he watched his father's head get scalped and him drug away. So yeah, that would scar you. Like I'm just realizing that, you know, for my great granddaddy, it wouldn't have surprised me if he ever got in a scrap and bit the face off of someone or like bit their cheek. But I know I'm pretty sure that my seventh grade granddaddy, he was left to go madly insane. Oh shit. Yeah, there's a lot of it's like you think the son is bad, the father's worse. You know, you can look and you can see where that would be true. The birds and the like right now, I'm feeling in my crown chakra. It's confirmation. Holy shit, man! My body just like it's like releasing aspect of it, so I look pretty like right. I'm in the energy. Usually they go through and they toot the horn, like do the horn a few times, and this time they held it for a long time. Right now, I'm in that stage where it almost feels like your spirit gets antsy, almost like your ADHD, and you want to constantly keep going. It's like your body's trying to push you to continue to move, but it's like saying, hey, whoa, like just sit with it for a second and figure out what it is that you're trying to do. Because that's the part I've said it too, that like with ADHD, you are that medium, you are that channel. And that's why you're going in all different directions. You're just grabbing. Or we become OCD and everything has to be in specific places. That's the part where you're adjusting your energy, but maybe you're not understanding that that's what you're doing. So it becomes an OCD, it becomes repetitive because it's creating some kind of comfort zone. Others didn't like that term, comfort zone. Well, it does. It creates that feng shui, that environment. And if you're like that, you can actually feel it in your body. That did that earlier today too. Just that sound right in the middle of it. It's like interruption, but it's like it's a frequency, but I could feel the frequency change within the room. So it's like just when you stand there, like just stand with yourself and hold your hands in a position where you can actually feel almost like You feel almost like a pressure also. Okay, that's somewhat the best way to describe it. Sila to eh. Yan. Sila to eh. Sila. This sounds more like more of a tropical forest. Oh, I love hearing it. I had this one that I used to binge. Oh, 11 hours up. Back to the other 11. So I guess I'm going to leave it there. You know, if you're experiencing weird things, don't be afraid to share them. You know, putting my books in. Let's go. Every problem has a gift for you in its hands. You can't hit a home run unless you step up to the plate. You can't catch a fish unless you put your line in the water. You can't reach a goal if you don't try. Success is never final. Failure is never fatal. It is courage that counts. It's like write it on your heart that every day is the best day in the year. Few things are harder to put up with than annoyance of a couple of a good example. Yeah, I'm annoying. I'm a good example. No. Well, the annoying part is right. Yes, I see. A single day is enough to make us a little larger, or another time a little better. If you, can we have more than we've got? Because we can become more than we are. Yep, spread your wings and expand. Lisa, it's like, let's go flying. It's like, don't shit yourself when you look down. Better not make funny. He don't like that. No bird soars too high if he soars with his own wings. Listo, la gente maestra. like, then I got your wings too. So, oh my gosh. I just heard asshole, piss face. Oh my gosh, man. Like seriously. I told, it's like you're in one world, but you're living in another world at the same time. Like, welcome to my world. The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. With that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health. Voice and I. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Never run away from anything. Never. I guess it's saying face it head on. And with that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting and willing to receive and accept. I want you all to be big, bold, brave. Most importantly, be yourself, be your authentic self, be true to yourself, be kind to yourself, be true and kind to others, and know that you have more strength than you can comprehend at times. So when you think that there's no hope, know that hope is rising. I love you all.